Right, hello, welcome. I'm on the wrong picture here. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find. Here we go. All right. I was wondering how I was going to do this, and this is the best I could come up with. So this billfold, hopefully it's on my thumbnail, but I don't know what my thumbnail is yet. But this $1 billfold, okay? Oh dear. I'm going to show you how to get to it and why this is significant, because it just looks like you've just folded this anywhere, Dan, to try and make something here. Well, I haven't, and I guess a quick caveat should be on this video is I'm going to try and cover a lot of stuff that I've covered in the past, and I'm going to gloss over a lot of this stuff. A lot of the meanings and everything. I'm not going to be able to explain everything in great detail. If there's something important that I've missed out, put it in the comments. There's going to be a lot of people that watch this, especially if you haven't seen all my old videos. You're gonna see bits in here that is just not going to make sense. But I can assure you, the rest of the videos will explain what's going on in this video. So we've got an important billfold. Now, if you watch my last, well, I've done several folds of the $1 bill. And the significance of the $1 bill is we're referencing the one being born, yeah? Neo being born. Okay, so if you saw my other billfold, you'll know about the 9/11 references in the dollar bill, right? Well, there's another reference in here which I've mentioned before in the past. I can't remember what video it was in, and I can't remember if I just talked about it or whether I actually showed it. I can't remember, but I'm going to show it now again anyway. So this is the billfold, and as you can see, just one end of this bill is folded at a certain point, and there is a reference point here, and it makes a letter out of the A and the T, yeah? So the A and the T, which I've talked about in other videos, of course, that is 8, and it's also at, Mars attacks, at, and the attack. So that AT for attack, and that's in everything else, and you'll see other people talking about it. JL, Jurassic Liars, talks about the at as well quite a lot because of Seattle. This AT makes another letter in the Greek alphabet, basically. And what I'll do is I'll go to that letter now so you can see it, and then I'll backtrack to how to do the billfold, because the billfold, this isn't just me just deciding, I'll just fold it here to make this. Okay, this is referenced in the bill itself, and I'm going to show you how, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before. But anyway, let's just knock that down there a minute, and let's go to the letter. Oh, look at that, right on it. So this is the symbol right here, okay? And what's interesting about this is it's the upside down V. It also looks very similar to Delta. We've had the Delta variant, okay? And now we're at Lambda, right? And again, with the Lamb of God, Jesus being reborn, Christ being reborn in everybody, we've got another significant reference to this upward triangle, basically, the arrowhead. Yeah, we've had Delta, we've had a Lambda variant, and actually now we're on Omicron as well, which is the O. So we've got a reference to Delta, to the womb, to the cup of Christ, to the arrow itself, which again is just the inverse of that. It's the physical man or mankind. And now we've got the hole, the eye, the birthing canal, the place where we come out of. We've got another reference with another variant of the Wu flu. So, but what I want to do is I want to get to this, right? So you can see this, right? If we go back, let's just backtrack so you can just look at it one more time. So side by side now, kind of, you can see this. I'm like 99% sure this is what this is referencing. And all the bloody the AT&T attacks and all those references now kind of start to make sense, okay? Because it's a combination of those two letters in the $1 bill that creates this lambda, okay? And if we anagram lambda, we can take the D, the A, and the M. That makes damn. And then we've got a B, an A, and an L. We've got the ball, damn, okay? Quite an okay kind of anagram, you know? The thing that we're controlled by. Bow, yeah? Baphomet, whatever. I don't know what the hell how you wanna look at it, but you know, there's a lot of jigsaw pieces that are going to fit together for people here in this video, I think. Let me show you how to do the billfold. Okay, let's get off of this. Where's me dollar bill? Come on. United States $1 bill. Okay, so if you looked at my last billfold, we got the little owl here, the Illuminati owl, right? And this joins over onto here, right? So this tells us where to fold to find 9/11. This little Illuminati owl shows up. This is part of the pattern, the spiderweb pattern. This is not me that's found this. This is some other dude found that this pattern repeats. And it's here. This is the head of that owl here. It's over here. Okay? It's right here. And it's right here. So I applied some logic. And I think there's still another fold in here somewhere to do with this and this owl head, but I applied the logic of folding along this owl here to make 9/11. So I went ahead and folded here and here. Well, I didn't fold here, I just put a crease up through here, which happens to come through that side of the A there, and then I just put this side over onto this side here and lined the owl back up, yeah, even though it doesn't look like an owl at this point. It looks more like a moth or something, but I lined that up right there, okay? So what we ended up with is we ended up with this, yeah? That point there comes over on top of here. Put a crease along there, and this is what you get. You get that lambda, okay? And that letter, okay, so what's the significance of that letter? Apart from being like the Lamb of God, and we can anagram it and all the rest of that, Dan, what's the significance of the letter itself? Let's go back to that. Okay, let's have a quick look at the numbers that are involved with this letter of the Greek alphabet. Okay, so lambda has a value of 30, and I don't know where it says it in here, but it's the 11th. Gosh, I wish I could. Hang on a minute. It is the where is it? The 11th letter of the Greek alphabet, and it has a value of 30. So we've got 1130 right in the dollar bill, okay, on that fold line. Now, what's the significance about 1130? Oh my gosh! Well, the first thing that's significant, if we go to my chart of Lorraine, if you know what this is, go backtrack, and there's a ton of videos that involve this thing, and you can figure out what this is. But this chart of Lorraine, okay, right here, is the balance point of the chart of Lorraine, 1118. This is what everything referenced back to 1118 at some point, okay? Now, if we look at 1129, which is right here, 1129, 29 is the combination of these two numbers. It's also individually the combination of 11 and 1 and 8, 29, okay? So this number has huge significance. I'll show you some links to it later on. Keep that in your head. Okay, we have Independence Day after that. Keep that in your head as well for later on in this video, because there's a nice little reference to this. Now, the problem is what we have 1129, okay, so this really does reference these two numbers very, very well, and that's today. But we have the 1 being born, so we're going to do I guess we're going to do add on 1 day, and I'm going to show you the references. You know, this will all become apparent why I mean, the reason why we add on one day is because this is the balance and the one is being born, okay? Neo is being born from the Matrix between today and tomorrow, okay? And sadly, in my life right now, I have it's something that's happened today that's, again, another reference to the end of the dam. And I'll just leave it at that. It's something personal to me, but God works in mysterious ways, and I'll just leave it at that. But there's definitely some references to the death of the system, which I'm going to get onto in a minute, in just 1 minute. Okay, so bear with me. So we've got from that balance date now of 11/29, which is today, to tomorrow, which is 11/30, with this little letter here of the Greek alphabet. Okay, and we're dealing with a lot of different things to do with the Greek alphabet, with this whole thing. This whole idea of Greece and those symbols of Greece, and one of the other big symbols of Greece, if we turn this upside down, is the Spartans. We're starting to get sucked back into the Trojan War, and we're getting sucked back into the story of Odysseus, and we got to keep all that in mind, yeah. The Greek classics with Ovid and COVID and all the rest of it. It's definitely, we've definitely got a lot of references to Greece, yeah. And you can just go around in circles with these references. As soon as I start thinking Greece, and I'm thinking of John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever, the club at Saturday Night Fever was Odyssey or something like that, and I'm thinking Pulp Fiction. As soon as this is what I'm saying about all these references. There's so many references back on themselves. It's almost impossible now to think about stuff without seeing all these different references piling in. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing, really, when we stop and think about the amount of references there are. It may be some people pulling some strings here and there, but I guarantee it, you can't pull that many strings. But that's part of the trick. That's part of the illusion of the people that control the world. They want you to think they can pull those strings. They want you to think they're manipulating reality that much, when in all fairness, they probably aren't, and they may not even, half of these references that I'm going to bring to light here today, some of them they may not even know about, Oh, bloody hell, we didn't know we did that in that film. We were going to plant some Easter eggs, and we were going to plant some other bits and bobs, but do you follow what I'm saying? The whole thing is it's just a massive story. It's just a massive spider web of interconnectivity. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible. So, logically now, we've gone from the $1 bill. We've put this fold in, okay? The fold is a fold that is meant to be there. If you watch my 911 fold, there's definitely something about that. Stuff definitely matches up. We're not really fudging it too much to get to this stuff. Okay? There's clues in there, if you like. There's a breadcrumb trail to that and to this thing. Okay? So, where do I want to go from here? Because there's so much to get through, and I really don't know. Let's go to the actual date of the year, because this is super interesting as well. So I've got November up here, and I've got my days remaining in the year and the day of the year with it. So here's November 2021. And there's some stuff that I don't have up that I'm just going to talk about. But here we are. This is 11:30, right? And 11:30, boy, I'm trying to think where that shows up. The 11:30 is the 131, yeah? and this will become relevant in a minute, but 1130 is those same numbers that are on the front of the train in Back to the Future. Yeah? You know, the Halide at the front of the train, it's got 131, and the side of the train's got 131 on it. This will become relevant. It's also a reference back to Halloween, because there is a date there that has become amalgamated with another date, the death of man, which has become amalgamated with Halloween, especially in England. It's really an English thing, but we're going to be talking about Guy Fawkes in a minute. But those two dates have become amalgamated. So this 131 of Halloween, of Hal, of the Halo, of All Hallows Eve, and now we have the Omicron, which is the Halo, the little O, that variant. We're back to, you know, all these references going back on top of one another again. But this 30th here, what I want to do is I want to point out two things right now. The three numbers that are in this date are the first three numbers of pi, which was previously referenced in the $1 bill, right? And this date here, there's only one other date in the year that I'm aware of that has just those three numbers in it. So it's going to either have a 1, a 3, it can have a 0 because 0 doesn't count for nothing, and it can have a 4. That's the first three numbers of pi, and there's only one other date that does this in the year. And what is special about this is the other date that does this in the year happens to be this date's twin. So we have a twin date, the 30th of November, that twins with another date, and they're the only 2 days in the year that have the first three letters, first three numbers of pi in them. That, I think, is fairly significant. I'm going to go to that other date now. We'll just go to the start of the year, because you've probably guessed where that is. It's January the 31st. Okay? And again, we have 131 now. So the number on the front of the train, and a number that's referenced in several other places. But we have this 131. So we have the same set of numbers in the actual date, and we have the same set of numbers in the days of the year, and the days remaining in the year. So this is super significant. And not only that fact, but they're the first three numbers of pi. And that's the only 2 days in the year that do that. Now, boy, so that's super interesting, right? And of course, October is, of course, a day that references October the 31st. Halloween is a day that references this pretty well as well. Yeah, because it's 1031. So we have an approximation again on a day. I mean, oh dear, I don't have a picture of it up, but let me see if I do. Hang on a minute. Before I go on, actually, I will go back to this in just a second. But so this date, right? So let's go back to November now, and I want to. So November the 30th. So this date, I want to just tie this back into Back to the Future, yeah? Because at the start of Back to the Future, all the clocks are 25 minutes late. In fact, if you look at Back to the Future and you look at those clocks, I think they're supposed to say 8:18. Yeah, which we're back to another reference with 8:18. We're back to this chart again with the 8:18 here, which I've gone through with Vanilla Ice and all the other bloody references to this. So this 8:18 at the start of Back to the Future, but these clocks are all 25 minutes late. And why are they 25 minutes late? Because if we go 25 minutes back in time now, if you're following along with this, and it's, you know, anyway, let's go back 25 days instead of 25 minutes, and that takes us back to November the 5th. Okay, this is super important because there's another date in Back to the Future that's heavily referenced, yeah? This is like the red letter day, I don't know what he calls it, this is the day that Doc falls and hits his head on the loo, the 007, yeah? He hits his head Or no, does he fall off the loo and he hits his head on the sink? I can't remember. Whatever he's doing something to do with the loo. He hits his head, and so he has this Harry Potter scar on the top of his head. You know, you see the references? He has this Harry Potter scar. He's on the pot. You know, you can't write this stuff. Anyway, so we have this reference to 007 again, the same as with Elvis dying on the toilet. This reference to the loo, the 007, 87, which is the loo, which is 007. This is going to be super important in the towards the end of this video, because we're gonna get onto the 007. But anyway, this 25 minutes late at the start of Back to the Future, it's referenced with the Arecibo collapse, which I believe is tied into all this. And this 25 late with November the 5th, which is the day that Marty does go back to the future. I've got it up here somewhere. Where is it? I don't even know if I can verify this, because I don't know where I've got it. Somewhere up here. Here it is. November 5th, 1955. Okay. And if we look at 11.5, we're going to see something in here. The 11 and the 5. These numbers, they're super important. The 55 combined with the 11. November the 5th, right here. So we've got, like, I don't know, and that mirrors 8/18. November the 5th does. I mean, hopefully this is clicking for everybody right now. November the 5th and the 5th month is May, right? So, and if you go to one of my older videos, it's called The Clock Code, you will see, and I will maybe get onto it in this video, but you will see that November and May are months that are opposite each other on that clock code. Okay, they're opposite each other in the calendar year, which is significant, right? Because May, of course, being the 5th month, and November, the 5th, and also, well, it's not the 11th. I don't know if what day Mother and Sunday falls on in America. I don't know if it's the 11th or not, but it could be a back reference there. I'm thinking the 1st of May, May Day. You know, these two things, you know, they balance. Well, I don't know if they balance each other, but they reference each other. Okay, so we have that little tie in there. Okay, where do I want to go from here? Sorry, I apologize. I'm gonna be all over the place with this video, but November the 5th. Okay, remember the 5th of November, because these are the two holidays. This holiday in England is essentially, it's almost like Halloween falls into this holiday, which of course would be the other side of the year, would be Beltane, you know, May Day, all those kind of things with the bonfires again. But we have, and the Maypole, we have the man on the pole being burned here, the guy, Fawkes. And remember, the fork, the 3-into-1. Yeah, the trident, the 3-into-1. The trilon, the 3-into-1. The Space Needle, 3-into-1. Okay? Right. So November the 5th. Remember the 5th of November. The 5th, if you go to the clock code video, the 5th falls with November. Okay, which is basically, it's just a continuation of the 24-hour clock. I thought might have had it up somewhere here. I don't think I do, actually. No Time to Die. Ah, I do. What number is this on? 929. I'm going to come to the start of this so you can see this clock code. Okay, because, okay, this is very, very poor quality here. You can't really see it. Very good, very good. JL, Jurassic Liars had, this is something I did a year ago, but JL had basically the same, had made a table out of this, which is what's later on in this video. Only he missed one thing out of his table, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But this is basically something I come up with ages ago, and I'm glad he's come up with it. I don't know if he come up with it independent or whether he saw my video or what, but I'm not that big-headed to say that this thing didn't exist before, you know, I looked at it and come up with something. There's a good possibility. There's a very strong possibility that this stuff. Mathematicians love doing crap like this. I don't know if you ever watch new number file. I mean, they're constantly doing crap like this. So you know, the people that are looking into the way reality works will inevitably have tables just like this. I'm sure of it. And what we've got here is we've got November here, and I actually have November and I have May written underneath because these are interchangeable, and I have May up here and November here. And as you can see, the numbers that follow on from November, we've got 11, we've got 23, we've got 5 here, and there's several other super important numbers that fall on these dates. And this is just the clock face with the months on there, and then we just carry on around. So when we get to 12, we'll go to 13, which is the 24-hour clock. 14 is 2 o'clock, yada yada yada, etc etc etc, and we just keep going up. And this is the same thing that JR has in his table, which is on this video here at 9:29. This table here, but what? So he basically has this table here, but this is so cool that he did this because it's brought me back to my own video. It's just weird the way things work. And there's a number in here, and you can see it right here. It's 131. Now you have to take my word for it, but this is the 11th column. See, here's 23 that we were just talking about. So this is the 11th column, right? Now, every time you go around the clock face, there's another row on here, right? And if we go down 11 and come across 11, right, we get to this number here, 131, right? The other number that is in, you know, the billfold, the 1111, which, well, we could go back to it and look at it. Well, no, I don't want to go to that. I want to go to that billfold. Where was it at? Right here. So we've got the 1, the 1, and the 1, and the 1, which is on, again, the Hoover Dam, the 2 inlet towers on each side that are grouped together. So you've got an 11 and 11 at the Hoover Dam. That number in that clock, and the reason why the clock tower is so important here is because that number, of course, 1111, the clock towers are on the dam, yeah? There's a time change zone there, and the 2 clock towers are up there. So this reference to the clock tower, and in Back to the Future, the clock tower, and in V for Vendetta, the clock tower, Big Ben, yeah, we have this reference now that gets us back to this 131 that's on the front of the train in Back to the Future, which is the 31st of January or the 30th of November, right? It is the numbers of pi. Pi is the dam. Okay, so I think we've got that cleared up. So this was, thank you JL for doing that video. Otherwise I had never got back to this. This was in the archive, forgotten about. But what's interesting is to put I don't know if he had it or not. I don't think he did, but to have the loop number down this side, which you can't see here, but I have the loop number down this side, which tells you, which references 11 with 11, the 11th month with the 11th loop, the 11th cycle. Right, that's done. Now, bloody hell. There's also the fact that we can reference, while I'm just on this topic, right, the fact that we can reference May over to November now ties in another little bit with Clint Eastwood, the man with no name, okay? So that ties back in with Odysseus, but the Clint Eastwood references in Back to the Future tie in very, very nicely to with his birthday, because I believe he's born on the 31st of May, yeah? So we have this reference to the 31st, and we can now we know that November and May are kind of interchangeable. Clint Eastwood's birthday now becomes, you know, the birth of the righteous man, as he plays the righteous man in most of his films. you know, we've got that idea of the birth of the righteous man, okay? Not to mention the numerous other references, a fistful of dollars, you know, what are we talking about here? The dollar bill. I mean, you know, just, I could literally probably sit for the whole day doing references, right? But there's too much to get through. Hang on. Okay. Okay, we've done that. We've done that. Now I'll convert between the dates, okay? Because I want to go from the old calendar to the new calendar, vice versa. So we go from Gregorian to Julian calendar. If we put the 30th of November in, what's interesting about that is we are at the 17th of November. Now, if you look in the Gregorian calendar at the 17th of November, in fact, we can just click to it right now. It's not that one. Okay, so, and I don't think did I emphasize the 25 on that enough? Hang on a minute. But if we go to the 17th, we've got this 3-2-1 countdown date, yeah? Okay, there's the 3-2-2, the next day on, the birth of man, right? 18. But this is the countdown, this is the eve. This is the eve of the thing. This is the countdown to the event, 3-2-1, which again is in here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. It's the first three numbers of this Lucas row of numbers, 2, 1, 3. And if we total this, okay, it's 3, 2, 1. Super interesting. Not to mention my own family. We have a huge number of references to that date with birthdays, and the following day with birthdays. So, where do I want to go from here? Let's click off this, Dan, and get on to. Let me just re-emphasize this about Back to the Future. This 25 days on from the 5th of November. Because I was just talking about the 3-1 with the Guy Fawkes, and we have the flux capacitor 3-1, and I'm talking about the amalgamation of the 131 date, right? Let's look at Guy Fawkes now, okay? Because Guy Fawkes, let's look at the day of the year when he was. Does he have his? Oh, does you know what? I thought. This is weird because I thought his birthday was a different day. But look at the death date. Died the 31st of January, right? You would have thought he was burned at the stake on the immediately before his execution on the 31st of January. Okay, so we have the death of the man referenced, yeah? The death of the man. You know, this is the guy that wanted to take out the Houses of Parliament and probably says in here, put the Fawkes converted. Anyway, we want to get the king back in charge, basically. He wanted to put a Catholic, right? And the cathode is the positive symbol, yeah? So we wanted, basically Guy Fawkes wanted a Catholic king back in charge, right? So we've got this idea of the cathode, the cross. So this guy's trying to get this guy back, you know, trying to get the king back in charge, rather than who planned to assassinate King James I. I don't even know this stuff has all gone out of my mind from school. Anyway, of course, the film that we're going to be referencing. So we've got this 131 here, right? Super interesting. Age 35, again, super interesting. 53, 35. That's in the table, the 53. But we've got this character re-referenced with a film that is heavily loaded. I mean, it's absolutely loaded chock-a-block full of references to what is going on right now, lockdowns, viruses, everything, you know, V for Vendetta. And again, this comes from the Wachowskis. I mean, you know, we've even got Agent Smith playing Guy Fawkes in this, or V. So all the references are there for this. And we even have the Cross of Lorraine in this as well. Interestingly enough, it's stuff that I've covered before. But this Guy Fawkes night. But we are unless I mean we could look at some of the stats on this thing. Let's not even worry about it. But we have Stephen Fry in it, which was interesting as well as one of the. So there's Agent Smith, and of course we've got Vader's love interest, who dies tragically, of a broken heart. I'm trying to think of some of I'm trying to think of the other important people that were in it, but really only Stephen Fry comes to mind. And this will become interesting here in a minute with the Fry. Okay. Where do I want to go from here? So we've got this November the 5th. Let's just jump back. Again, we've added on. Remember the 5th of November. Okay. Guy Fawkes being burnt at the stake. This in England. The Bonfire Night and Halloween have basically become tied together in England. So we have all these Halloween references as well. It's it's the eve of the Hallow Man, right? And so we do add on them 25 and we're getting to the 30th of November, yeah. So we have that code in Back to the Future, and I believe I've seen that somewhere else as well with the reference to that. But we have the V for Vendetta tying back to Guy Fawkes, tying to the wearing of the mask now, the persona, the legal system references. Where do I want to go from here? I think I want to go. I just want to touch on a couple of little things before I get into what I would call super significance with the Lu 007. Okay, we've had this Omicron variant right now. Okay, and I watched an Enter for the Stars video, and he had picked out Omicron, the Nomad Soul, a game that come out that was featuring David Bowie, and David Bowie did some songs for that thing. And one of these songs that's in this game, I guess, I don't quite know how it works out, but it looks to me like they're in a canyon of some description with a bunch of water and with, I don't know if that's supposed to be the top of a submarine there or what the hell that's supposed to be, or is it, we've got the 3 into 1 anyway, referencing here, the 3 lines here, the 3 going into 1 here. And we basically, in that video as well, so you can see the sort of canyon scene, oh, blooming hell, nothing blows up in it, but we do have this sort of big wall at the back here. It's something you can go and look at for yourself. I just thought that was interesting. Given all the references we've got with old David Bowie, there's Black Star up there. And there's some other stuff I'm going to come on to in a minute with Elton John and Dua Lipa. But I thought that was worth a mention. He mentioned the Omicron Wasp as well, which happens to be I looked when he did it. He didn't mention this in his video, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, that looks like a mud dauber to me. And of course, a mud dauber they're called the Potter Wasp as well. So we've got this idea of the Potter again, the pot, being on the pot, the cup of Christ, all the same references. It's just amazing the way this stuff works. In fact, mud daubers are actually, apart from being a pain in the arse and putting big old clumps of mud everywhere you don't need them, they're actually quite a non-aggressive, quite a passive wasp. And of course they kill the spider, which you could look at in a number of different ways, but yeah, there's definitely a reference back to 8 legs again there, and just the way you want to look at stuff. There's a definite more references back with that, but I didn't want to get into that necessarily in this. What I want to go to, I guess, so we've done the Omicron, and I guess I'll go straight into, actually before I do this, because I really want to spend a little bit of time on that at the end there. Also the Nomads, that video game for this what's called the Omicron, the Nomad Soul. Again, we can anagram Nomad, and we've got damn and no damn, and it's the soul, the undamned soul, and the nomad soul in this game is the one that is like the chosen one again, is like Neo again. It has to, complete the game, uh, yada yada yada, and is kind of got to be this kind of savior character, I guess. I'm not sure, but just interesting. This all ties back. Look at the symbolism here. The eye. We've got the skull in the middle of it, which would be the moon. That's the moon. The man in the moon is the skull without the flesh on him. If you look at the moon, you can figure this out for yourself with the seas of the grey seas on the moon form the eyes, etc., etc., in the mouth and that's the moon, and here's the eye, and here's where we're born from. All the same bloody references. Right. So I thought while I was on this, I'm just going to stick this in here because we've got this remix of Cold Heart. It's called Cold Heart. It's not a remix of Cold Heart. Cold Heart, actually, the Elton John song, is actually Sacrifice, right? And what this remix is, this is a Dua Lipa. So I've talked about Dua Lipa before, and of course Elton John. Oh, just the name alone, Elton. Yeah, Elton being, and he's always wearing these glasses. Yeah, a 1/8 reference. We've got there's just with 55 glasses on the 2 pentagrams. This guy, literally a lot of his songs, it's a bit like Billy Idol again. And while I'm here, let's just mention Billy Idol. If I don't get back to it, Billy Idol's birthday, the Billy Goat, the man that is reborn in White Wedding, if you watch White Wedding, and in several of his other videos, there's references to all this stuff. Billy Idol, born November the 30th, okay? And we'll get on to celebrity birthdays in a minute, but just in case I forget, that's there. So with Elton John, I don't even want to go into the name. John means one. Ton, I don't know what ton means, town or very heavy, a ton of something. The Elton, okay? The L is the 73, the 37, the God number, the spirit number, really. And that's what we're talking about. The spirit returning to the one, okay? So we've got Elton, okay? Anything interesting in the dates? Released 13th of August, this one was. So we've got an 813. Interesting. I don't know how you pronounce the people that did this. Panau. Panau. I don't know. Pinau. The Pinai. Pinau. I don't know how the hell you. But anyway, this is a mashup, a mix of these two songs, which is Rocket Man and Sacrifice. So we have, if we take the two original names, which is Rocket Man and Sacrifice, we have the Sacrifice of the Rocket Man, yeah, which is again the death and rebirth, the baptism of man, yeah, the Rocket Man being, the upright, erect man. So what I wanted to touch on this is, of course, go listen to the song. The lyrics are interesting. It's a good song. It's a good tune. If you're into dance music, that kind of stuff. But so Sacrifice. No, this is Sacrifice with Elton John. I don't think there's anything terribly. The lyrics are interesting. We can't get an exact release date, etc., etc., etc. But so I don't really want to go into that. But let's go to Rocket Man now, because of course that's heavily referenced with certain people. And so, do I have Rocket Man up here? Come on, surely I do. I actually have the video up. Now, this video, funnily enough, is a redone recently, I guess 2017, a redone animated video. And it's on Elton John's, I don't know if this is his actual proper legit channel. It probably is, seeing as it's 2.77 million subscribers, or it's something fairly official. But this video seems to be fairly official anyway. Regardless to say, it's absolutely loaded to the brim full of references about, you know, coming out of nature, getting caught up in the system, and then being reborn. Now, the point at which I want to show you the rebirth part of this little video is right here, where he's falling back to Earth, right? And what's interesting about this, I mean, you just can't write this stuff. This has to be very well thought about. Is in this scene, he's in London, right? So of course we have a reference to Big Ben in here as well at some point. So the clock tower's in here, but we have this thing here, which actually in this video actually looks more like an egg, but it's actually called the Gherkin, yeah, and it's a building in London, and I'm going to show you the building that's in London now. So this is the Rocket Man, a guy that looks a lot like Obama actually, falling back down to Earth, right? It's worth a watch. But this building, where he's falling back to Earth and being reborn, happens to have the Pat Tillman Bridge in front of it. That is at the Pat Tillman Bridge on the Hoover Dam. And we have the two sides of the canyon here, you know, and this is the egg that we're born from, right? This is the womb. And if you look at it, it actually looks like an eye or a slit, you know. So we have that thing, and it's all glass, of course. Because of course glass is it forms a reflection, but it forms a mirror, but it also is translucent. It's a perfect analogy or metaphor for the fiction, right? That's why glass is, you know, and going through the window and all this nonsense. That's why glass is used a lot. Anyway, he's falling back, he's being reborn, he's coming past the bridge here, but he's coming past this thing, and this thing is, get to the point, Dan, come on. This video is going to be way too long. Let's find it, come on. I just was on it just a second ago. Right here. 30, St. Mary, yeah, St. Mary. Where does Jesus come from? From Mary. We've even got the blue and white referenced in this building. Yeah, the darker blue and the lighter blue of Mary referenced in this building. It's the eye, it's the Vesica Pisces, it's the gherkin, it's the pickle that we're in, yeah? I mean, you just can't write this stuff. It's the pickle we are in. It's called the gherkin, alright? And it's also called St. Mary's axe. What does Odysseus have to shoot his arrow through? Through the eye of the axe, yeah? This is what he has to shoot his eye, the axe. We got a ton of references here, right from this remake of Rocket Man. You can't write this stuff. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, you just can't write it. It's absolutely nuts. Okay, so it's and of course we've got Dua Lipa with it, yeah, the dual lips, yeah, the place where you were born from. I don't know what else to say about it, to be quite honest. Go and look at it for yourself. I just thought this was interesting, that this thing, and there's some dates in here. I don't know what date Rocket Man was released. I've got a funny feeling that some of them, there's some references there. And there's some other Elton John stuff that's been sort of video re-released. You know, they've done new videos for old stuff. And there's a ton of, I think I'm thinking of Tiny Dancer now. There's a ton of references in that redone video. So, I mean, I haven't even had a chance to look at half of this other stuff. So, anyway, let's leave it at that for that one. Now I really want to get onto the huge thing, and this is this thing, 007. Yeah, so we're back to the loo. Yeah, 87, 87, or 007. Daniel Craig. And this last film, and I call it the last film because, okay, before I do this, right, if you haven't seen the film and you don't want me to spoil it, now is the time to pause this video and go and watch the film. This is your chance, because after this point it's going to be spoiled, because I'm going straight to the end of the film and then we're going to backtrack, okay? So basically what happens in this film is, because you know what I was looking for is the last 3 or 4 months now I don't know, you can probably catch some of my talking about it in other videos, is I've kind of been looking for a reference to the death of the system or the death of man, because before we have the rebirth, we have to have the death, okay? And so we're looking for this Lazarus rebirth, or we have to have the Lazarus death first, yeah, the man. And I think Lazarus actually refers to the system as well, rather than just being like a Christ death. We're talking about Lazarus, which is Christ's friend. So, and of course, Las Vegas. We get that sense of Lazarus from Vegas, and I've also talked about Toys R Us and some of the stuff that was in the Thanksgiving parade this year, because I have to sit through that because my wife likes to watch it. Some of the stuff that they had mentioned in it, they mentioned Toys R Us, and they brought back some old stuff in that as well. And I thought, it's interesting that we're seeing like some of the old stuff being brought back, because in this film, in No Time to Die, this latest Bond film, what I call the last Bond film, there's a bunch of references to previous Bond. I mean, there's a ton of references to other Bond films. There's one in particular that we'll get into that's heavily referenced, but there's also a bunch of other references to other Bond films, a ton of Easter eggs, almost like we are seeing like before you die, you see flashbacks of your life. So you're probably getting the gist of where this film's going, because what happens at the end of this film is, you've guessed it, James Bond dies. This is the character, the quintessential character of man. He's got a double role in life. He's a double agent, yeah? He works, within the system, and he's also a man, right? And so, spoiler alert, Bond dies at the end of this film. The film, I mean, it's not a bad film. It was, I got to the middle of it, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of dragging on a bit, It's, just the standard Bond stuff, fight scene here, and chase after this and that and the other and all the rest of it. And it kind of started dragging for me in the middle, and they made it a long film deliberately. It's 163 minutes long, which is 2 hours and 43 minutes. There's that 43 again. But 163, of course, 43 is a reference to the dam, and 143, which is a reference to the balance of 55 and 88. But 163 is also a balance to 1118. If we do 11 divided by 18, that's those numbers in the Fibonacci, the Lucas set of numbers, but it's essentially a Fibonacci type set of numbers. This is what we get, this 163, 3636 reoccurring, yeah? The 36 being what you get in a complete cycle, 360 degrees, a full year. So, it had to be this length, yeah? We've got it coming out on the 30th September in England, and we've got the 8th of October in the United States. Yeah, so super good references there again to what we're talking about. And of course, so in this film, basically Bond sacrifices himself at the end, yeah, to save all of humanity. So it's a Christ-like maneuver, right? And to save the one he loves, right? And so the fiction, the feminine side of that survives on, and so does his heir as well. His daughter survives on, right? So even more spoiler alert there. But this film heavily references back, and there's some other clues in this film that we'll go into, but it heavily references back to, I think I've got this guy up. This guy's got I haven't even watched this whole of this thing. I just saw his thumbnail, and I wanted this thumbnail to show you what it references. It references, again, this thing, the fork. The Guy Fawkes, yeah? This is the guy. He's trapped by Diana, or Athena, or Britannia, Octobriana, Wonder Woman, whatever you want to call this thing here. The shield, yeah? This is the O, what we come out of. This is the shield that protects us. And this is what we get caught up in and trapped in and controlled by. Here's the man, the 3 into 1. Yeah, this thing kind of crumbles in the film. But here's the film that is heavily referenced. This is the other Bond film that is heavily referenced in that film. And simply because again, it's another tragic love story, which the other Bond films don't seem to have. And what's important about this film is we got this reference here again, and here's the Cup of Christ, which I've said before, is the Bond got the martini glass. Yeah, it's referenced in a ton of other places. It's the flux capacitor. This is why he drinks martini, vodka martini. You've got the crown on top. I mean, come on. The references are all here. Right. But what do I want to say about this? We've got to go to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because this is heavily referenced, right? It's a pretty sad film at the end. I was actually balling it. I was pretty, I was welling up pretty good at the end of this film. And the only other Bond film that's happened in, actually surprisingly enough, is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. If you haven't seen that film, again, the difference is this time his love interest dies. He doesn't die. But it's it's almost a standalone film. A lot of people at the time didn't like the film, and the guy that plays James Bond. It's important, right? Let's go to the guy that plays James Bond in this film. I don't know if I even have this up. We'll get onto that in a minute. Here we are, George Lazenby, right? This is the guy that plays Bond. He's a one-time Bond, right? He's the only guy that plays Bond for one time. That's important, yeah, because we're dealing with the one. Okay, look at the name, Lazenby. Okay, we've got the start of Lazarus right there. Okay, you know, this is important again. We've got the 5th of September, right? So we have this guy being born. Now, if you recall, when they released No Time to Die, we've got a reference to the 30th of September, right? So we've got that 25 days, except we're using September instead of November. Super interesting, because if you go to November, the reference to 9/11 falls back into November, so we've kind of tied November and September together. Oh, and we can tie them together in a lot of other ways, but that is super interesting on that, you know, on his birthday and on the birth of when the film comes out, the conclusion to 007 James Bond, right? So we got this character. This guy isn't even an actor, supposedly. I think he does, for not being an actor, he does a pretty good job in the film. I actually like the film. There's people that don't like it, but I believe that it has gained a lot of popularity. We have the reference to All the Time in the World with the Louis Armstrong song in it, and that is re-referenced in the No Time to Die. And All the Time in the World, I don't know, because we have the re-reference to Back to the Future, Out of Time. I don't know, but it's interesting nonetheless. We have this reference to time. What else do I want to say about this? His name, George, of course, George, the St. George's Cross. That's the cross of Christ, if you like. It's the red cross. It's the cross. It's the blood moon. It's when the man, the flesh, takes control back over or returns balance back over the fiction, the white fiction, yeah, the moon, right? And of course, in the film, who does he marry in the film? Oh god, he's from New South Wales. You know, we've got another Princess of Wales reference. The orca, the thing that kills the shark. I mean, oh bloody hell, I don't know. Anyway, this is Diana Rigg, right? Diana. Yeah. She plays, what's her name in the film? I don't know, but anyway, we've got Lazarus and Diana together. You know, I don't know what else to say. I can't remember who she plays in the. Something beginning with a V, I think. Anyway, you can look it up. What is super weird about this now? You can't write this stuff. Let's get to it. He's in a film. He's in this film. He does another film, right? He's not actually after Bond. I don't think he's really. You couldn't name another film that he's in. I couldn't, but I saw Universal Soldier and I'm like, holy crap! I gotta go to Universal Soldier. So this is before the Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, series of films. I guess is what it is now. But Universal Soldier, I've done videos on Universal Soldier because, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme. There's a personal reference to me with Jean-Claude Van Damme in that film. I won't go into it because I don't want to put my personal details out there. But needless to say, it's all. I don't know if it's a 1 in a million chance that would pop up. But I mean, it's the chances of that reference coming up for me is slim to none. But anyway, Universal Soldier, and of course, that's it might be. I don't know if it's Jean-Claude Van Damme's breakout thing, but it's definitely a big film for Van Damme. And apart from his name referencing the dam, in the film they go to the Hoover Dam and they've got some scenes at the Hoover Dam where there's some stuff going on. There's some other references in here, like Carruthers and Hunter, that I can see what those references are in my own life. One of these, and this dude here kind of reminds me of a character in The Shining, actually, which we'll have to go to another day. I will get to The Shining at the end of here, but I'm not going to do every little reference that's in The Shining, what The Shining really means. But it's another film that I want to just touch on because it's important in the whole gist of the thing. But anyway, here's Universal Soldier with Van Damme. So now we've managed to tie back from Lazenby to the guy that, and a lot of people say that they called it the death of Bond, that film. I don't, what that's in reference to, because it was a bit of a flop initially. They might have referred to it as the death of Bond, and also the character himself kind of changed in that. It was kind of a different character in that film, and it's actually you have to watch the film. I have my own opinions of the film. I actually like that film. But anyway, we got Van Damme in here. We got Dolph, yeah. And what's interesting about this again, now we're going to start really tying in some stuff. We got Dolph, which I hadn't put 2 and 2 together. I may have mentioned this before, being Scott, but Andrew Scott. I'm like, Andrew Scott? Well, Andrew is Scott. St. Andrew is the Scott. It's the Great Scott. We're back to the Future with the Great Scott. St. Andrew. And I'm like, I just happened to look up days of the year. If I was Scottish, I would have known this, but I'm not Scottish, so I don't know it. And I don't really know a lot of people that are Scottish. I have a brother-in-law that kind of maybe has some Scottish roots, but as for me, I don't have anything to do with Scotland. I'm closer to Ireland than Scotland. But what do I want to say about this is, I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look up things for the day of the year, and lo and behold, so we've got Andrew Scott, the baddie in Universal Soldier. So this is just tying around in circles here. And St. Andrew's Day is the 30th. It is the 30th of November. You can't write this stuff. And look at the top. So I'll put this in. Look at the top of this. We got the bloody trident again. Independent Barbados. Yeah, the Barbar reference. Barbados Independence Day. Oh my goodness. So we've got this reference again here. You just can't write it. I don't know what to say. You just cannot write it. We've got St. Andrew now being referenced. This references the fiction. That is super interesting. I mean, this day in history. I mean, you can look through the stuff for yourself. Michael Jackson's second solo album, Thriller, is released worldwide. Oh my, you know. George Harrison dies. Oh my lord. You know, I mean, I don't know what to say. You know. What's this say? Just France transfers. Oh, the Louisiana. Do we really have the Louisiana Purchase then? Oh my lord, to France. What else to say about it? I'm not even going to go through all the rest of this stuff. Stay at home day because you're, you know, this is about coming home, and we've got stay at home day because you, you well day. St. Andrew's Day. That's the important thing. That's the holiday. Yeah. If we had a holiday, now we're back to Madonna. And that song, that song's super important. I've been looking for the holiday. I don't know what, you know, is it May Day? Is it, you know, Labour Day? Could it be the Great Scott, St. Andrew's Day? Yeah, the fictional side of the system. And this is what we've got. We've got this, the fictional side of the system. Let's go to it. Underneath, now the Red Cross, the St. George's Cross, the George Lazenby over the top of the St. Andrew, of the Dolph Lundgren. You know, I'm running out of breath. My throat's starting to get sore. I'm thinking, let's just wrap this up now because there's nothing really else to talk about. The trident is heavily referenced in No Time to Die. You can see that for yourself. Daniel Craig, he's got some other interesting films, but I ain't got time to really go into that today. We've got the 3-2, the 23 that's in this table again. And 68, of course, the number of man in his birthday. You know, it would have been nice if his signature had been a D, an A, and it almost looked like more of an M there. That would have been pretty hilarious. And just to top things off, my kids, we've got a bunch of homemade stockings that go on the wall for Christmas, and my wife just put all the Christmas decorations up for the kids. And I'd forgotten all about this, but very kindly, my grandmother-in-law made me a stocking, and it's like a family tradition. But my stocking has Dan on it, you know, D-A-N, but it's in cursive, right? And so the cursive N happens to look like an M. I should do a picture of it in a video sometime, but it's just absolutely hilarious, and maybe I can put it in my thumbnail. Maybe you could see it in the corner of the thumbnail or not, I don't know. But it's just interesting that I've got a stocking on the wall right now that says, it looks like it says damn. It's supposed to say Dan. Just more interesting stuff. Again, what's interesting is we finally end with, so we have the other great Scott, which of course was Sean Connery. So we start with Sean Connery, then we go to then we go to Oz, we go to Australia with Lazenby. I mean, you just can't write this stuff. So we've got the great Scott, who most people think he's been the best James Bond, you know, Sean Connery. And then, you know, we got Lazenby, I mean, the Oz. And then we went to, I don't know, I'm trying to think if Pierce Brosnan was Irish, and what was, oh, I can't think of Living Daylights guy. Oh, somebody put it in the comments. I think he was English. I'm trying to think who else has been Bond. Roger Moore. He was English. And so anyway, we return back at the end of it with an Englishman, which is interesting. So we flip in and out of Englishmen, but there's been a lot of characters that haven't been English. But it's interesting we finish with an Englishman because of that St. George's Cross again. And a reference to Daniel and the Lion's Den. I don't know. 3-2, 2-3, 3-2-1 references here. Let's leave it at that. Is there anything else I want to show? I want to show you the end scene of The Shining, right? This is the end scene. This is Jack at the ball, the picture on the wall. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to go watch the film. But we've got July the 4th. That's Independence Day, yeah? So the man becoming independent again. And that film's all about coming out of the fiction, by the way. A film that I'll have to review another day. But that's what that's all about, and about the illusion of the fiction. Because what we're living in is Jack's illusion and part of that film. So, and how the fiction is created from things within our own reality. I haven't got time to explain the whole film, but needless to say, that'll point you in the right direction. But we've got this 1, 1, and we've got a 9 and a 2. Where do we see those numbers? So we've got 1921, but 1921 is right here. 1129, right? So we've got that reference back to that, and then we've got the July 4th reference right here as well, in the Cross of Lorraine. So I just thought that was worth putting in there, because there's another scene, there's a dam scene, and it's the River of Blood scene in The Shining. This River of Blood scene, let me just go through it very, very quickly, because we've had so many references to the Colorado River, and the Colorado River is the thing that is dammed, yeah? These are the two legs of the dam. This is the main sort of shield of the dam, the body of the dam here. Here's the two clock faces at the top of the dam. One side of the dam's going to open up. The Red River, the Colorado, is going to flow again. And if you go to Rob Ager and go, he's got a channel that deals with like hidden stuff in movies, basically, and meanings to movies. That he talks about this body that is in the bottom of. I wouldn't have even known about this if it wasn't for his channel, But immediately I know what this means. At least in my own mind, I know what this means. This torso, this man's body, this naked man's body that you can hardly see, but it's definitely there, is a reference to the man being reborn again. When you're born, what comes out with you is a load of blood. Yeah, you come out of the shaft. Yeah, the elevator shaft. The elevator shaft's the thing that takes us up. Yeah, into all our fictional ideas in the world. This is the stairway to what we think is heaven, yeah, but it's not really. And this is the rebirth of man. And if you watch this down here, there's a body that comes out of this scene, yeah. This is the birthing of man. This is the Hoover Dam right here. And there's several other references. I'll do a separate video on this, but I just wanted to put it in. I think we have a 2 and a 1. Up here, yeah, the 1 is being born, yeah, it's on the 1 here from the 2, or the 2 and the 1. Anyway, I think I'm done. I think that's the end of the video. I'm going to just flip through here. I've done the Union Jack flag. One other thing about the British Isles, which I haven't done a video on, but I should have done a video on, is that if you look at a map of Britain, right, and then you go ahead and look at a map of Korea with North and South Korea, it's not too much of a stretch to see that North Korea looks a bit like Scotland and South Korea looks a little bit like England in shape. Now, I'm just going to leave it at that, right? So we have this, the North Korea looks a bit like Scotland, okay? And so we had a lot of references in my earlier stuff to Kim Jong-un and, North Korea and the Destroyer, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I'm just going to leave it at that. And, what's come out just now is the resurrection of Ghostbusters. Yeah. Here's another little reference while I'm on it. This guy, McMasters, scientist, inventor, invents the toaster. What do we see at the start of Back to the Future? We see the toaster, right? Another reference back to Scotland being, the fiction, right? What else do I have in here? We've done the holidays. There's some other interesting holidays out. I don't want to go back through them. Security. Maybe we're going to have a huge security breach A little bit like War Games, you know, when the Whopper is breached. I don't know. What else do I want to do? George Lazenby. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff out of here. But this was the guy that I was looking for to the Lou, the 007, yeah. And this has come to an end. They'll you know, I mean, of course they'll resurrect it, of course, but this is a reference to that thing coming to the end. Oh, I didn't do celebrity birthdays because this just reminded me. Celebrity birthdays, of course, we've got Billy Idol down here. Yeah? Mark Twain. Woody Allen. I mean, we could probably start Steve Aoki. Oh my goodness. Winston Churchill. He appeared, there's a reference to Winston Churchill in No Time to Die with the Bulldog, which is another reference back to another, I can't remember which film. It's the guy, that guy with the references that was just on his tab. He's got those references. Here we go. Here's old Big Bang. Kaylee Cuoco, what the hell her name is. She's Penny. Yeah? It's got the 35 here. She's Penny. And Penny is Penelope, Odysseus's wife. Yeah? This is why we have so many Penny references. And to the Copper and Venus. It's all the same bloody... It's all the same stuff. So I don't know if I've covered everything pretty good now. We've got the Elton John, the Sacrifice, with the Rocket Man, mixed in a single Cold Heart. We've got this part of the thing, this part of the video here, and as he drops to the ground, the train comes back through and goes back into the tunnel, the rebirth. Going back into the system here. I mean, this video is absolutely loaded with stuff. We have Big Ben in it, we have the clock tower, we've got the underground like in V for Vendetta. We even have at a certain point here where he goes under the wave. I think it might be at 311. It's dead on 311 when his boat capsizes, and that's what happens to Marty when he has to jump off the hoverboard, because he's got a bat swinging at him, like Jack has the bat swinging at him in The Shining. The references are just absolutely nuts. We've done the Bowie thing with that. I'm sure there was some other interesting celebrity birthdays as well. What else did we have? I think Churchill also was, I think he was related to Diana. I may have said that before. Who else we got in here? There was a bunch of birthdays because I listened. Gary Lineker, look at that. England captain, yeah. England football soccer captain, yeah. So we've got the captain of, again, England, of St. George. There's probably a whole bunch more birthdays. I'm pretty sure they did a whole. Oh no, I was listening today. Sorry, that's tomorrow. I'm getting all confused. Famous birthdays. Ridley Scott. Look at that. I mean, there's probably a whole bunch of other ones. But anyway, it's about time for me to wrap this up because I've got to go. This is a film, Cowboys and Aliens. It's got Daniel Craig in it. It's got Han Solo. It's got Harrison Ford and some other girl in it. 118 minutes. July 29th, 2011. Halfway through the cycle. I'm going to watch it some point. It may have some interesting references in it. I haven't watched it. But again, Cowboys and Aliens. Aliens are fictional. Cowboys is the boy that comes from the cow. And that's it. That's the end of the video. I've probably missed a bunch of stuff. Anyway, Washington. Washing the town clean is what's happening. He's in the loo seat there. Come on. The same as Dave Bowman goes through the loo seat. We see Dave Bowman through the loo seat. The same as Doc was on the loo, standing on the loo seat. The same as Elvis was on the loo. The 007, yeah? I don't know what else to say. The 007 porthole. Yeah, that is it. Full year reference calendar. Add and subtract. I haven't done any adding and subtracting apart from that 25. And of course, this date, super important because it's pi. And it's the only day of the year that has, along with its twin, which is the 31st of January, they are the same numbers. And it's the only 2 days in the year that have those first 3 numbers of pi without being sort of having another number in it, like a 2 or a 4 or whatever. They're the 4 is in it. A 2 or a 7 or a 6 or a 9. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. We'll see if anything transpires in the next day or so. So anyway, hope you have a good one, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next one. Cheers. All right, bye.